That's awkward. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't see your screen yet. I don't see your screen shared at all, so we make things happen, and then they work. And then, hopefully, whoa! Is this a universal week? Because otherwise, I have very deep concerns about where this chat's going. Uh, baby eats, poop, sleeps. Show up. Mm. Well, I sure don't look like I'm expected to. Ha! I'm doing all right. I yeah, had a well, like I said, I'm kind of looking forward to the end of this week when what chaos ensues, and got to you know, it's a Monday, and you know what? It's not too shabby. So nothing too crazy happened. I did watch the Gundam Requiem for Vengeance, which was an interesting thing, but we get into that some other time eventually. I don't know if you had a chance to watch that yet.
I boomered it.
Um,
I boomered it. I forgot to turn on my desk audio.
oh, can you guys hear me talking?
Yes, they could hear you. They couldn't hear me because I have them on separate tracks.
Wow, you know what? This is uncomfortable for one of us.
It was
It's
just.
not me.
I have to imagine it's just Punkwaddle talking about how his baby born. Everyone in the chat is like, "What's going on?"
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm just listening to the voices inside my head. So that's how my Monday's going. How's yours, Caster?
Oh, we are going. I got a couple little packages in the mail today, and I got some stuff I'm happy to show off.
Sweet.
Uh, it's just kind of a. Let's turn that off. Just a nice little chill day. So I've got this whole week off of work, and by the way, hopefully, guys, I will have this. I have the audio fixed, and Vince isn't gonna yell at me again. But I got a couple little RPG books in the mail. I've got the week off, and I got to like stay up late last night watching Hammer horror movies
Nice.
because 'tis the season.
It is. It's Hammer horror time. Oh no. But, I don't know why with Cantantrus instead of Hammer time. Um, Maybe it's because I'm not wearing my parachute pants.
Yes, I am showing my package. I got a little JRPG, well, Japanese inspired tabletop RPG in the mail, and I thought I would talk about that a little bit because we need something slightly mech adjacent here to little chit chat about.
Okay.
This so I'm assuming everyone's doing good. But anyway, this is an RPG if you happen to talk with T-Shirt as of late, this has been an RPG that he's been super into, called Fabula Ultima. And this is a Italian RPG that is inspired by the 90s JRPGs. So your games such as Legend Dragoon and, your Final Fantasy, of course, just all those games are all kind of rolled into it, and it's sort of where a lot of that sort of inspiration is coming from for it.
Gotcha.
And much like in those RPGs, you start out at like level 5, and what you're doing is combining a bunch of, also like, just, I will actually, should I do a little screen share for you in Discord? Would that help you?
It might. Right now I have it up on YouTube, but either way, yeah.
Okay.
Like I can see on the YouTube screen, just a couple seconds later.
There we go. All right. Sorry, I'm still figuring things out.
Sweet.
Anyway, yeah. So a lot of the basics of this are drawing from JRPGs. So you look at it's the little things down to like the way these are, like the way the weapons are look have this little pixelated appearance to them. Just really appeal to me for that aesthetic. Like it feels like you're going through an equip page.
No, it really does, because you. That's what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
But the symbols and everything.
Yep. So the game only has like 4 stats to it, with which you have dice assigned, and typically what you're doing is you are rolling 2 of any one dice at a given. You're rolling 2 dice, as determined by the game master. So you might have, say, D8s assigned to like a D8 and a D6 assigned to a class. Sorry about that. I am grabbing dice for examples. And then you get to roll those and try to reach your target number.
Okay.
Now, it's possible to double up on something like your strength and strength if you're just trying to like push something really hard.
So you're not throwing tons of dice at one time. It's just it's simplified for kind of forward motion.
Exactly. And so, at most, like, difficulties might be like a 10 for difficulty, but if you're rolling 2d6s, it's possible, but it's going to be pretty unlikely.
Yeah. Okay.
And, it gives you a lot of stuff that just, it doesn't really have a tied-in setting to it, but it's sort of built on this idea that, well, players are going to sit down and they're going to kind of come up with that together for what they're going to do. So if we sit down, you're like, Caster, I really want to do something with, like, mech pilots. Could we do something like that? And, well, thanks to, in part, the Techno Fantasy book and a touch of the main core book, all of that is possible. The art for these is very beautiful for the classes. Heavily inspired from those, the little instruction booklets you used to get out of, like, the PlayStation games.
And it's real fun because this, I mean, is it just me, or are this style tabletop that's a little bit more streamlined, a little bit more based on the anime, manga, JRPG, some of these kind of things that it seems like there's more and more of like, hey, how can I, instead of just doing the classic Pew whatever,
maybe an overcomplication.
Well, it's like it's not as complicated, but it's allowing you to insert the fantasy elements that you want to into a game, right? You're not limited to the assassin or the druid or the knight or the wizard, right? there's all
Right.
these other options. They can
It,
figure out how to we can figure out how to insert this style of things, mecha, pilot, ship. Just we have a groundwork for what that would be, and all the fantasy elements that we can find like you said, a die or some mechanic there. We can fit it into its class, make it work, so you can have all the fun you want with the the imagination you want of the character, but also it's not hard for them to just put it in and plug and play, right?
so yeah, it's got this interesting kind of idea of you're combining classes together. So
Yeah.
in effect, you could take, say, the Dark Blade and take like 2 levels of this and 3 levels of the Entropist. So you're sort of like space,
Okay.
and you're like some dark, edgy. I live in the darkness. Swordsman. Because one of the things this game does is it has players start at level 5 and forces you to combine up to 3 classes to make your character. So you're not the Darkblade class, but it's some ideas and elements of this are going to be used to create, you know, Waddle, or Edgar. We'll call our character Edgar. Edgar the Edgy.
Yeah.
And so the only thing you really need to know when you're leveling this up is your every time you level up, you get to buy one of the skills here on that are basically listed under the character. You can buy up to the number specified.
Okay.
And you can only level one of these classes up to level 10. So maybe you choose to level up elemental magic 10 times, and then you get to choose like a new elemental spell. So you bought into this just to be able to cast a lot of different spells.
Yeah.
And then here's a bunch of spells that go along with that. Whereas a lot of these can be very, I mean, the casters have a lot of like secondary and maybe even tertiary pages, but sometimes like basically the Fury, or basically a monk like character. Your Punchy McPunch. You don't need a whole lot to that.
Apparently Edgar wears girlfriend jeans because he's the edgy emo elementalist.
Oh my god, Edgar totally is.
I have the swoopy bangs.
And he can be a guardian who's performs like bodyguard duties. So if someone else were to be attacked, he takes it for them, because why should others suffer when he can do all the suffering for them?
Oh,
He's one of those.
somebody's swooning for the self-inflicted.
Maybe you just want to be a ninja thief.
Oh, well, that sounds like fun. Those are classes that make sense to be put together.
And then you're an assassin, so you have like you're a thief and a sharpshooter, so you specialize in trying to eliminate people from afar.
Okay.
David, I hope nothing just bumped into a guitar, because maybe it was just me making a weird sound. And hello, the lovely Sherry.
Oh,
Just
yeah, she's here. I said hi to her in chat. I did not say it out loud. I'm not being this being on Discord and not StreamYards. I'm still working on being a better co-pilot.
well, I appreciate you for lending me the assistance here in this little transitory period.
I'm not anything. I'm a transitory penguin.
He's like, well, he's not migratory, so he can be transitory. He likes trains.
Would you like to meet Virginia?
Yeah.
She wears high heels when she exercises. Anyway. Okay.
She only drinks when she smokes.
Mm-hmm.
She only smokes when she drinks. Oh, yeah, so this is a really simple, a little more streamlined RPG. You don't have any of that the grid based stuff. This is going back to basics of like your JRPG. You have your characters are all lined up, squaring off with the enemy.
Gotcha.
Cue the music. The da 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 da.
Yeah. The 8-bit, 16-bit MIDI files.
Yep. We we only have we only have 8 bars of music, so we better make them work.
Yeah. 8 bars a week. Wait, sounds like a Punkwaddle song.
I think the Beatles beat you to it.
Doesn't mean
And
you can't make it better.
so they also gave me a little game. I also got a little Game Master booklet that came with their GM screen, and well, I wanted to show off the art because it's a GM screen. We gotta really stop to admire that. And
It's fun that because it's a game about all the stuff is kind of like you talk about you create in your head, but the fact that they have their own art for everything is pretty entertaining. When most people won't even go to that length, do they?
yes and no. A lot of indie developers I know will sometimes just use stock art, but which could be a way to save money. But after a while, certain pieces just get seen 1,000 times in 1,000 other books. Whereas these are all kind of right within that theme. Like, I think it does a serviceable job of kind of invoking ideas of, fantastical adventures. Oh, we've got kind of like a battle maid fighting rock elementals with their little, Lalafell friends. They're all kind of anime chibi. I like it. I want to ride a dragon.
Oh, yeah, that sounds like fun.
I haven't had a chance to really sit down and kind of get a sense for how useful the inside of the GM screen is going to be, but there's some basic information here that I think will be useful, such as designing NPCs, what little things to kind of keep note of, how I should what I might want to consider for assigning stats. So it's got some stuff for creating characters on the fly within the first 2 pages, the first two boards, and with this being this kind of smaller A5 book size, this isn't going to be a massive screen.
Right.
Some guidance on like difficulty checks, what sort of opportunities or situational advantages might come about. And all in all, it seems like a pretty well thought out. There's not a lot of wasted space like came in the 5e1.
Okay.
But we also have the big one, the new one, which is Techno Fantasy. This is the one I've been waiting for a little bit, and I think especially with us in the Mechpit chat, we'll have a little bit more interest in this because look at the cover. It's got giant robots.
I love giant robots. Oh, that's some nice giant robots.
They do an odd thing with this book because you would think that this is going to be like a nice either solid soft cover book or you're going to be getting a hardcover. No, this is like a slip. This has got like a paper sleeve, paper cover, with the inside being black and white. And I'm not sure why they've made that decision.
Maybe just budgeting and it's cheaper to make. You can get more out there. How new is the company or how well known are they?
So the company is well known enough that I believe this got at the Ennies in 2021. It won Best Game. So the Ennies is in like board game, tabletop games. It's one of those big award shows. So this is this is a fairly well known RPG at this point.
So they could have made it with a harder cover that's just more durable because it's pop. Okay. That's curiosity then.
Yeah, and so Yeah, one of the things they did with this starts to break down, uh, you know, how you can incorporate a technology based game system. Like what would it mean to be in a more sci-fi oriented RPG with this kind of JRPG elements? What sort of stories can you tell? And here's a couple of example settings that you could use to build out some story hooks, some little player plots. That's all interesting stuff for the game master, but the real question comes from like, what's the player going to benefit from out of this? Why should a player want this?
Yeah, that's a good point.
We got some ideas and stuff about magic and rituals, context where how that blends with technology and sci-fi, cybernetics. How well do you want to have those kind of going into your game? Of course, that's where we start getting into the important stuff. More of those cool little pixel art pieces for the items.
Well, like I was thinking about like Escaflowne. That's mecha in a fantasy realm, and Knights in what was that we watched earlier?
Yep, Knights and Magic.
Knights and Magic, where there's the mecha, but there's a lot of the. Now, Knights and Magic, it still had the magic powering, but it still was a little bit more mechanical based. Escaflowne seems a lot more fantasy, wizardry based, and it's kind of fun to see how it seems like it would well fit in these elements here.
And indeed, it does. I think that's some of the best examples you could probably point to for that inspiration.
Yeah.
But of course, what's a good RPG without some protagonist?
With a protagonist?
Yeah, we gotta have our anime protags.
We want a mecha one then?
Maybe we could. Some ideas about how to, what sort of character elements do you want to put in? What sort of stories do you guys want to tell? Here's a couple of example ones you could use to set up, such as Commander Scotty. Not Scotty, but it wouldn't be a mecha anime without a mask wearing character in red.
True, and you could always do like the steampunk as well is another. If you don't want to use magic, but use some kind of that era, which goes great in this sort of aesthetic.
Also, in that same vein, we have characters such as Gar.net, which seems to be a rogue sci-fi little robot, little virtual AI character. He's the first VTuber.
An animatron or whatever. What am I thinking of? Like
Automata.
Yeah, automaton. Maybe it's the direct navigational automaton.
Maybe.
Yep. Yep. You know what? I want to coin that. Yeah, I need an automaton to help me navigate. He's my navigation droid. All right. Okay. Well.
And then that brings us to some of the first couple example characters, and I really don't like how they have the art right in the middle there. It really kind of takes it out of it.
Well, if I'm not wrong, this is the same art that we've seen in other books, right?
No, this is I believe this is a new piece because this is supposed to be for one of their new classes, which is the mutant.
Oh, okay.
Or the Esper. So our three in this are the Esper, like Terra from Final Fantasy, the mutant, right. You're you're genetically augmented or bio enhanced freaks.
Yeah.
And then for us, the pilot.
The pilot. Yes, the pilot needs some recognition.
And then we have some rules about custom weapons, which, I mean, who's to say a mech couldn't be a custom weapon?
Uh-huh. Well, they have to pilot something.
Exactly. And then you got to have like some custom weapons for those, for yourself and for your bots. More protagonist stuff. Which, I mean, so far at about 130 pages, 150 pages. Holospheres, high level characters. To randomly generate a holosphere from the list. Game, I have no idea what the holospheres are, but I look forward to reading about them. Like, I just got this in the mail, like, a couple hours ago, so I haven't had a chance to really break into it. But one of the fun things that they do suggest as well are some ways you could combine classes in order to make, sort of your character archetype you might want. Here's the cyber vampire that takes some levels of entropist, some levels of mutant, and sharpshooter, which were 3 that I've mentioned so far. Or perhaps instead you want to be a magical gun girl.
Oh.
And it's all. I mean, at the end of the day, the important thing is, you have these basic rule ideas, but you can easily go ahead and reskin them for the sake of your guys' story. And we have many options. Oh, here we go. Here's some of that original art for like the Esper. So we can have our psychic. And by the way, he looks like he's like 35 and he wants to retire.
I can respect that.
He's like, I have heard the word skibbity too many times. I wanna get off this shift. I am surrounded by like 16-year-old kids with that are being bitch slapped and forced into piling giant robots. I know where this is going. I want to retire. Navigator, you can communicate telepathically with any conscious allies within 1 travel day of you. You are able to hear others for the sake of skills and effects. You gain the ability to perform rituals of the ritualism discipline. Additionally, you may use ritualism to transport creatures in and out of the Soul Network to gain information and track entities while inside of the Soul Network, all for 1 ability.
Did you just say that Gator can communicate telepathically? Because I think then I'd never be able to hear my own thoughts.
No. Let's not think about that. It's just gonna be Starburst. No. I don't like where that's going.
Me neither. I got scared.
Here's that art piece I think we were looking at earlier.
Okay.
The mutant.
Nice.
And what would that mean? Like, sort of like a Parasite Eve, like mutations and quasi Resident Evil as well.
I mean, that would definitely be interesting to explore.
And more about that.
Mutant or like
a TO virus.
Yeah.
And then finally, you just want to be a pilot.
I just want to fly, Daddy.
Can you fly, Danny?
I just want to fly. I just want to go fast. Put me in the plane, Dad. I'll go fast.
Modules, and a bunch of heroic skills. So when you take one of your classes and level them to level 10, so you max it out. On top of having all those abilities of that class, you get to pick 1 heroic skill. So sort of like your iconic move. Like bullet time.
Well, a magical girl with guns could have bullet time.
You could be a steel witch.
Oh.
Gain benefits when you cast spells on a personal vehicle.
Steel witch. Is that kind of like what like Bon Jovi, instead of a steel horse, steel broom I ride?
I'm wanted at Halloween time.
True.
And then, of course, like any good, any good addition to a game, we gotta have new monsters included.
Well,
So
yeah,
you,
you gotta have a realm to explore.
so we got a little bit of kind of rough idea about. Here's a couple generic, the Ardent Squadron and whatever that might mean for you in your game.
Hmm.
And then we gotta have like some crazy, like some computer generated AI monsters.
Well, that'd be fun. Like, there's some good things about AI, for sure, for sure.
It it has its places, but this is Fabula Ultima. And this is something I've been kind of enjoying reading through, and at some point I do want to get to playing. So I think maybe one of these days we should sit down and try to do a little one shot of it.
Okay, and I can tell you more. Look it up after stream. But there's some friends of friends out here in the YouTube sphere. There is somebody that's using, I think it's a D10 system.
Ooh, D10s are
But
pretty popular.
and something like I said, I can tell you a little bit more about that. But somebody I was able to talk with a little while ago. It's kind of working on and has been working on his own tabletop system for a while now, and it sounds like they're actually getting close to trying to launch some stuff. So then when I find out more things about like actually really putting stuff out, a product out, I can give more details. But yeah, it sounds like it's up your alley and up the kind of conversation alley of, and it seems like it's pretty accessible, like this sort of thing where you trying to be able to add elements into it that aren't just so pigeonholed and, with some instances, or if you're more skilled, just kind of run your own game sort of thing. So like being the casual gamer that I am, and I've run a few instances here and there, like the older I get, the more I see the value of sitting around the tabletop. But like what you're showing right here has where it's a lot more simplified, where you can just get in, plug and play the game, and you can get as involved as you want, but you don't have to spend hours building your stats and your backstory, and you know what I mean.
Yeah. Sorry, I need to step away for 1 second. I need to go check on something. So I hate to
Okay.
do it, but I gotta step away real quick. So
Well,
be right
I'll
back,
be here.
guys.
Okay. Well, guys, you are stuck with me. Uh, so DJ Ronnie G is gonna make a bicycle tabletop bicycle game. That would just be like an exercise bike if it's basically biking in place the whole time. If I had a badum cha, yeah, maybe I could. Oh, we're getting pictures. Getting pictures. There's cool little chibi pictures. Like Metallica said, turn the page and then turn it back again. You know, unfortunately, I don't even have access to the pages that were turning David Glenn, let alone rearranging Ironcaster's furniture. I wouldn't want to rearrange it too much, because if Charlie B showed up and you got really confused, he might actually think he was in a different place. And you are correct, Vince Womack. You are correct. I will not say that on stream. It's not my channel. But you are correct. Yeah. I mean, he's easily convinced, so I just wouldn't want to throw him off too bad. Oh yes, I watched it all the way through on Saturday. Yeah, good, good. Yeah, with all your extra time, you should. I have thoughts on it, but I don't want to jump into it. Um, don't want no spoilers, but I think if we can get snacks on here once you watch it to kind of go over it, because there are some things that I appreciated about it, and then there's some other things that just I had questions, and I think some of it has to do with because it's some of the pacing in the story isn't made by it's a Western take on Gundam, so there's got to be some bit of grains of salt.
Hmm.
But there's a few things that I was just like, uh, some of the plot points seemed a little non sequitur after the plot moved on.
I mean, so far I was able to catch about 5 minutes of it at the start of basically with today. Basically, I saw that for a change. It's set in Romania, so we're not like doing more stuff on the American front. So in theory, there won't be Garmazabi.
Right. Although there's, and I put this in the notes. There's a lot of, and it's supposed to be in UC 979, right? That's when the 1 Year War was.
Yes.
But there is current day, like all the liquor bottles are current day liquor bottles that I could go out to my local liquor store and see and buy. So that seemed a little weird to me. I will give you that. Um, and I know that they are in Europe, but when he said Odessa, I was like, "What? Are you trying to pretend like you're in Texas, but you're really in Europe? But also, there's an Odessa, Texas. So where are you really? Do you know? Did you know what you were writing when you wrote this? Because you know, there's just a couple times like you're in Europe and not in the States. But that's a kind of more silly point. It doesn't really give away the, the story or yeah, the plot.
I think it is a bit interesting to see how we're effectively seeing more and more of these Japanese series are starting to be picked up and brought over for the over for there we go are being brought over and getting brought over to the West, and in a lot of ways it's sort of dominating.
Oh yeah.
But I guess we'll have to see ultimately how this series performed after the weekend, which I think those numbers might be out now.
Okay.
I could probably go look that up, but
Like it's no narrative or halfway flash movie or anything. Like I really thought this was gonna be a movie, and I guess at some point they decided to switch it over to be a TV series.
Vince says,
Yeah,
"Did you know
yeah.
that most American city names came with the settlers from Europe?"
Yeah, yes. It's just the fact that it seemed like in almost the same conversation, the guy's drinking out of a Tito's vodka bottle that's from Texas. And then another guy was talking about Tennessee whiskey, and then he's about like, "All right, we'll meet you up in Odessa," and it's just like it's supposed to be in Europe, but it sounds like you're just in Middle America. Like if you didn't know where it was set, you would assume it was set in America. Honestly, like for all the people who don't, even with their accents, like for all the people that don't know and that it isn't explained in the show at all, right? I think they say that it's the year of 79, whatever, the 1 Year War.
It
That's
is
about all the preference.
the year 0079 of the universal century.
And they don't even like intro it like some of like unicorn and stuff like that, where you know where you are in time. They're just like, yep, y'all know it's Gundam, y'all know it's a 1 Year War, and you know there's another White Devil coming. So let's just cut to the chase and show you what happens, right? Yeah, I know, Vince. There's a Odessa in Ukraine. Um, but like I said,
Ukraine.
in the
Oh no,
context
this
of
got
seeing,
political.
well, what I'm saying is like a scene like after them drinking out of a handle of Tito's vodka that's from Texas. All right, meet you in Odessa. You're like, oh, once again, if you didn't know that it was in the European front, you'd think this was set in America, right? I know this. I'm saying how it was presented. I don't know. If you know nothing about Gundam, which I feel like a lot of people who are going to watch this on Netflix, they only know half of the people will know something and half of the people won't have a clue. So
I mean, it's certainly possible to see that sort of thing happen because Gundam is sort of a legacy franchise that, while has been big in years past, has had its sort of waxing and wanings as far as the mainstream is concerned.
and Witcher Mercury only did so well.
Right, and that sort of have its own little things about how like, shippers.
Yeah, it really pandered to a. I don't know if it really. It kind of. I don't know if it really pandered to, but it kind of egged on a certain sort of audience demographic a little bit, and then they just kind of ran with it. But it wasn't as a. I don't know. There are some elements that it gets more into. It feels more Gundam, and you can kind of see it. Like it almost feels like they're doing a little bit of a. Since it's a six-part episode, it seems like a little bit of an homage to War in the Pocket, except for they're not friends. They're in war, right? And it isn't about getting to know the other side. But it's just one of those. And I think the guy who did the mech designs for this, he was the same guy who did some of the mech designs for 8th MS Team, for Cowboy Bebop. So it has, and it explains why the mecha have more of that barrel chest style instead of the square chest style. Because like the Easy Eights,
Right. Well,
from
the one thing I do like seeing with, for example, the Zaku here is just the amount of extra stuff hanging on it. It's got texture. I mean, you look at from the little snippet we see here of the shoulder, and it's got netting.
yeah, yeah, and I agree. They do some really cool stuff, and how those come to be, and yeah, that I like. The Zaku's a little more true to form, a little bit barrel chested, but more true to form. The Gundam I didn't like because I just feel it's too industrial, barrel chested. Yeah. Hey Dave C.
Hello.
But like I said, and that's as much as I can say until we start getting into the meat and potatoes of it, which we'll wait until you watch it.
All right, yeah. Maybe we'll touch on it next week. We'll do a little we'll do a little bit of an episode breakdown of it, and we'll take it from there.
I do like some of the characters grew on me a little bit more. Somebody put the art style seemed the CGI art style kind of reminiscence of the Final Fantasy movies from 15, 20 years ago. There's a little bit of clunkiness, there's a little bit of slightly unnatural the way things move about, but it does have that video game engine, so after you acclimate to it, it's not as a big deal.
Oh no, spirits within, go! No!
What about the Advent Children?
What is it worth sitting through at the spirits within and having the weird tentacle ghost that kill you?
Mm. I don't know. Is it ever worth sitting on a tentacle ghost?
Depends if you're an anime schoolgirl or not, or a
Mm.
cat girl,
Yeah.
or I guess in your case a penguin, anime penguin girl.
And I don't know how to feel about the last 30 seconds of that, but yeah, I'm not sure. Uh,
Well,
yeah.
so I thought I would kind of pull a page from Brandon's book and stop and let's just kind of do a little bit of a update here, I suppose, for the you know the anime update. Like, what have you been watching as of late, though, my friend?
Well, funny you should ask. So, one of the things that popped up on the radar recently is that the Vox Machina and its animation just they came out with their new season a couple weeks ago
Ah,
at the,
right.
at the beginning of and so those and I know they're based on Critical Role and people have their opinions, but to me it's a fun thing to watch through. It goes pretty quick and yeah, it like I
I
said, it's fun. It's not anime, but it's fun.
Well, I mean, it's animated. It at the same time, it is entertaining. A Critical Role, like it or not, is one of the biggest names around, especially within the world of tabletop games. Like, they really helped push D&D Fifth Edition, the first Fifth Edition, to the
Yeah,
position it's at. And that and Stranger Things. Those were the two big parts that managed to make that work.
yeah.
And so the last week or two, I've been doing a little bit of, I suppose, soul searching as I started to kind of reassess, some assumptions and my feelings I've had on certain streaming, entities, characters, shows, etc. And maybe, perhaps in the past I've been a little too harsh on, stuff on like the Matt Mercer stuff and the way that sort of kind of created a bit of a quasi knockdown effect within the RPG hobby,
Okay.
because at the end of the day, it is insanely popular. There is no denying that,
Hmm.
and maybe I need to kind of go back, check them out again with some fresh eyes, because at the end of the day, we all just want to play some good RPGs.
It's true. It's true. Um, I will say of well, okay, so of current season, I need to catch up on the latest Goodbye Dragon Life. I've gotten 2 episodes of that. For funsies, I've been watching the Sword Art Online alternative Gun Gale because to me it's just they're in the video game playing stuff. It's not the same stakes and escalation of the Kirito story, so since it's a side story, it has a different gravity and a different sort of thing. Um, Obviously, Shangri-La Frontier. I need to. I don't know. I was trying to start the Mechanical Arms show, and some of the art style and stuff is not my particular favorite, but I'll try to give it a chance because it looks fun. And then I don't know. I think I might have said this, but I remember starting Fairy Tale with a friend like 10 years ago, and we got through like almost 100 episodes, and then life happened and we kind of dissipated. So I refound it recently, and usually like if I'm just eating kind of dinner by myself or working or or kind of in the studio, I'll put that on the background and let it run because, like all those Shonen Jumps. And I know I should probably just be watching One Piece instead, but oh well, right?
Well, I mean, Fairy Tale. The funny thing you mentioned Fairy Tale. I was looking through my Voodoo yesterday, and
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of looking. I'm like, what TV shows do I have on here? Only to like then realize I have like the first season of Fairy Tale on there somehow. Like, I don't know. Maybe I bought season one for like $5 at some point.
Yeah, it's possibly yeah.
But it's a fun one, and that's one of those series that I could see wanting to feel some inspiration for games such as Fabula Ultima. But yeah, no, it's been kind of fun getting at least a series off my plate. For example, I just finished up that my dear friend Nokotan.
Okay.
That's the really silly one that has the girl with the deer antlers.
Yeah, I remember seeing. I still haven't watched any of it, but I remember seeing the memes and the intro and all the spoof stuff.
It is a brain rot anime.
Sometimes those are fun. I still need to try the Dan Dan, whatever.
I should probably get to it, but like anyway, I needed to kind of clear a couple things off the calendar, off the schedule, and plus I'm sort of waiting on Brandon to go finish up some to get back with him and stream some One Piece before I go back to that. So I guess between a little bit of like 60s horror and catch up on the backlog, that's kind of where I'm at. So maybe I now that I've gotten a little bit of my stuff cleared away, I can go ahead and start check out a couple more current series.
I, I always tend to do that though. There's the new season starts. There's a few I really really get stuck with keeping up with all season long, and there's a few that I'll start watching, forget about, and go back to some old, binge an old season, an old episode of something, and then when the season's over, realize there was something that turned out better than I thought, and then go binge that one. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, and then what happens is you're now in the next season and you're watching a show from last season you missed.
right, but I can watch half of that season, on a Saturday afternoon, and I don't have to wait the whole time. So sometimes it's like if I really want to watch it, or I'm just not ready, or I'd rather just binge it. Like I don't have to be current on everything because, as much as I like the serialized things and a few things that I'm gonna keep up with, it's also really really easy to have it lost in the routine of, well, I've got live streams and I've got channel videos to do and I've got this and that, and then I have real life to take care of, and oh, okay, I'm 4 or 5 episodes behind. All right, maybe 3 episodes. I'll watch that for an hour on Saturday. You know, catch up. Right?
And then meanwhile I'm also like, hey, by the way, you should come check out some of this Kamen Rider stuff. Like that's one more show you should watch.
Yeah, 50 episodes, right? And I mean, like it
Well,
was this weekend when the Netflix was like, oh, okay, I'll watch this Gundam series this afternoon. It only took a few, couple 2.5 hours, right? 30
so
minutes a short episode.
so on with Kamen Rider specifically, the current series Gav, the candy
Yeah.
one, that's only
Right.
about 6 episodes in right now, I believe. Six,
Mm.
maybe 8. So it's very easy to get caught up on that. And you got to figure with your intro and your outro, you're talking maybe 20 minutes an episode.
Well, yeah. I mean, I already get my vitamin D, my Sunny D, like, and I don't go to McDonald's that often. Although now with this last weekend, maybe I will. So I don't always get my high C intake.
No, you gotta get that. You gotta get that vitamin orange.
Yeah, the orange high C. Yeah,
Oh,
such a
But yeah, no. So, Kamen Rider Gav is right now one of the best series that I'm watching right now, and the Super Sentai series, Boom Boomger, which is very much like all car themed. It is this past week's episode was a full on Mad Max hijinks episode, which I wonder if I have a
Nice.
picture of this thing saved. Oh yeah, I know. I loaded this up. I dropped a picture over into Discord here. Let me find this.
Ooh.
Here we go. I will.
Ooh.
So they just got their mech upgrade, and it is a trailer to haul all the cars, and they're racing through the desert while they're being chased by the bad guys with their giant semi truck, which by the way has the monster of the week that is an electric guitar that shoots flames, riding on the top of it. He's playing guitar. Does this sound familiar?
Like somewhere between Mad Max and the intro to Borderlands 2.
Exactly. And then the Rangers have to get out, and they're fighting down the sides of the carrier with their guns. They're getting into a gunfight like it's the old west. It's like this is crazy. There's no way they would have this sort of like intense battle in like the American show. Not that they would at this point do an American show anymore. R.I.P.
Yeah.
But I'm watching this all. I'm like, holy crap, guys! This is some of the best stuff I'm watching right now. Like, I don't need Agatha to be gay
No.
and do space magic, witch magic.
Yeah. Fires in space.
It's a darn shame.
Brian Shim.
But yeah, like I said, so I guess to close up on something upbeat. This is honestly some of the best stuff I'm watching right now, and I cannot recommend it enough. Unfortunately, the current series, there's no legal way to enjoy it, but when it does come out, I would suggest to support it, to watch it on a streaming service if available, or if you can't wait, then I'm sure the Straw Hat Crew will show you where to find it.
Mm-hmm.
That Godzilla of Tokusatsu. Maybe we should call him Toku's. No. That would be giving it a name, and we don't want to give it a name. It will remain nameless. But with that said, folks, I think it's time to wrap things up. Punkwaddle, what's coming up with you this week?
Well, working on my weekly videos, positivity, PSA, and then, well, I'll try to, like I said, get some stuff recorded. I mean, I know I don't do live streams, but try to get enough recorded to have some content go out this weekend while we're at the convention and hanging out in San Antonio. That those of us who are able to make it, and hopefully Ironcaster can too, and everybody else who's we've been talking about. But yeah, all I know is I don't know. Like, I don't live stream on my own channel, but I know that we'll have stuff that'll pop around, and videos will get it put up, and we'll try to make sure we tweet it out and let people know where it is and what to see and what to say for our shenanigans. Who knows? We'll see if Drunk Waddle makes an appearance. Sometimes he does at these meetups. So, yeah,
But guys,
that's about what I do for now.
all right. I should hopefully be on with over on Pop's channel tomorrow for Talk Hard, where we will be talking about Shaun of the Dead.
Nice.
And right now I'm kind of playing it by ear about if I am going to be able to make the meetup, but fingers crossed, and we'll see what's going on with that. I'll keep people informed. Be sure to follow me over on Twitter at the Ironcaster, and yeah, we'll roll out into the week here, folks. So keep things going. Be blessed. Take care.